Welcome to another AlwaysMoto inspected video. I'm David Hogan, the Australian physiotherapist and moto media guy that's responsible for the best moto injury content and product reviews you haven't yet seen on your social media feeds. To keep up to date with us, just search AlwaysMoto in your favorite social media app and then hit the follow button. But this week's episode is all about the new EKS Brand Lucid Goggle range. We'd like to thank EKS Brand Australia for providing the product for this inspection. If you would like to review this information via a print version and read that rather than watching the video, by all means, that's different, but that you can do that. We will have this link up available. It will be in a print form or over on www.fullnoise.com.au in the coming days. So which EKS Brand Lucid range were we able to review? Well, we had this one being the red, white and blue with a silver mirror lens. It's the standard sort of Lucid range for them. And we also were able to review the flow yellow and black with the zip-off race system provided, which is their equivalent of a roll-off that you would use across the other brands. So we're able to review both of these products, and we had some good experiences with both of these, and we'll talk about that a bit further as this video goes on. So what are some of the features of this new Lucid goggle? Well, as per most of these goggles in this higher end range, which is where this goggle is targeted to be, so it's up against things like your Scott Prospects, your 100% Omegas, and your Oakley air brakes. It's got that tri-layer foam that sits nicely there on your face. It's nice and soft on the front, the piece that sits on your actual skin, but it's also got those 3 layers for help with the sweat movement. It's got outriggers on this model of lens, which is something new for the EKS brands. The previous Goxes didn't have that style of attachment to the strap. It comes with the smoked lens, but as per most goggles nowadays, you can get the standard clears and a range of different lens colors options from yellow to chromes to the anodized pinks and those sorts of things that you can get in the lens options. This one comes with a nose guard as standard as part of the the regular purchase of this goggle. Nice wide strap, which again in this range isn't unusual. It's got the multi-layer silicons to stop the goggle strap from falling down. But this one also has a nice dual adjustment point, which is something that's new for these featured of this goggle level for the EKS brands. It's not something that was on their previous Goxes as well. And as well as the quick zip or click release lenses for changing the lenses over at different points if you need to change that, if the lens gets scratched along the way. What about the features of this zip-off system? Well, it's a little different from ones that I've used in the past. Some of the other goggles you'll have with a roll-off system or the zip-off system, they use depending on the brand, depends on which one they use. Don't get caught up in the semantics. But for the zip-off systems, some of them will have different setups as to where the actual film will be held off the goggle to prevent sticking if water was to get between those. And some of them will have all the little tiny dots across it. Some of them will have a bit of a plastic insert that sort of has like window pouches cut into it, and that's what's to hold the actual film off the lens. This one just actually has a nice and if you can see that up nice and close on the video, there's actually just 2 lines, top and bottom, that hold the film off the actual lens. And so you sort of end up feel like you're looking through a mailbox at the beginning, but like anything, after a few minutes, you basically get used to what you're trying to look through, and it sort of blends into the background. So don't get too worried about that. It works really nicely. I found that quite good. I used to have ones that had the spots on it, and I used to just always look at each one because you would get light on each one of those. Whereas this, you sort of just got this nice big clear section you're looking straight through. The film itself, so there's a nice wide film as well, so they've upgraded that to this on these Lucid lenses to be more of that premium option that's going to be available with those other brands we mentioned previously. It does also still have that nice little strip across the top that you stick onto the goggle after the film is in place, and that's to prevent any water getting between the film and the lens and then causing it to stick or blurred vision. And look, the roll-off itself, the pull string is nice and light, and it hasn't changed in the time that we've been using this goggle, which is about 10 hours or so now on the bike time, and it's been in different conditions. We've cleaned it up since we've used it the last couple of times, but it hasn't changed the pull tension at all, depending on what conditions you got it in. It just keeps working at the same rate at the same time, which is nice, because other goggles I've used, they've gotten tight and they get harder to pull, and so you don't get the same movement that you would as on each pull. But this one seems to work quite seamlessly, which is an awesome feature, and simple to change. There's only one click point for these to sit into, and being that clear option, you can quite easily tell how much roller film you've got left and whether you need to change it before the next moto or not, so you don't run out halfway through, which is a nice thing to know. So what did we notice straight away when we put the goggle on? Well, if you check out this goggle frame here and the shape of it, it's quite curved. Now, previous lenses and goggles that I've used, they haven't quite been that rounded in that area. So when you put this onto your face, it really sits onto your face. Some of the more flatter ranges tend to try and rely on your goggle strap to be pulled tight as you adjust that onto yourself so that you can get that feel for yourself. These things just sit straight on your face. There's no real need to tighten that strap. I didn't even have to really adjust these. Now, I'm not really anything unusual in sizing. My helmet's a large size. I use an Arai, which is the VX Pro 4. So nothing out of the ordinary there. It's a nice flat shape on the back. These things fitted perfectly without having really any adjustment. And look, for other goggles that I've used, I've had to really tighten those things up so they actually felt like they're sitting onto my face. But these things just sit straight on. They seal really well because of that. And so the ventilation side of things that then comes with this, these I found, compared to the original Gox, these didn't ventilate actually as well as those previous Gox range goggles. Those Goxes, I felt like I had a fan blowing up through my face, which was, you know, kind of nice because it kept that lens really clear from any fogging potential. Now, these didn't fog, don't get me wrong. They just didn't breathe this quite the same, which no fault to them. This is just a different design. Things are obviously going to flow around that new lens frame a bit differently to the original Gox. But these work just as well as any other goggles that I've used from that ventilation side of things. Now, what about pricing for these new Lucid goggles? Well, these zip-off kit system ones that come in with the whole arrangement there, they're about $180 Australian. These standard ones without any of the zip-offs, these are about 140 Australian. Now, price comparisons are something really difficult to do because every shop has a different retail point that they'll put them in at their shop for. And if you know that shop or regularly shop there, you might get a discount. So don't take this next part as gospel, but on a quick review of a couple of online retailers in Australia that hold the EKS Brand Lucid range, the Lucids compared to your Prospects, your Omegas and your Oakley air brakes were on that lower end of the price range for that similar goggle features. So that top of the line goggle for those guys. So that's a nice little win in terms of if you're on a bit of a tighter budget, which look, for a lower price point goggle, they've got all the same things as those higher price goggles. So why wouldn't you give that one a go and see if it works for you? Worst case scenario, you just try them on all in the shop there. If you actually go to the shop these days, not everybody does. Everything's an online purchase, it seems. But if you do want to try them out, that would be a great way to check them out. Just pop them onto the helmet in the shop and see if it fits for you. And look, from a usage point of view, we've had nothing but good features, good feedback with them that we could say to you guys to give it a go with these new Lucids in Australia. So do we really have any negatives to talk about in this inspection for these Lucid goggles? Well, the only two things that come to mind is that pre-curvedness to the goggle and the ventilation. And look, they're not negatives. They're just differences from EKS Brand to Scott to Oakley to 100%, whoever. It's just a difference that you've got to get used to when you pop that goggle on. It doesn't necessarily make it bad. It doesn't mean it's better than another goggle. It's just something that's different from brand to brand. Yes, it'd be nice if it ventilated as well as the Gox does from its other line, but it doesn't have to. It still ventilates quite well. And the pre-curve bit, well, it just sits on your face nicely, which for me personally, I liked. I like gear that actually fits me and actually, is firm fitting, as in it's on top of you. It's not bouncing around. It's not feeling like it's sitting off your face or sitting on the edges of the helmet when you put the goggle straps in. So that thing, yes, listed as a negative. No, it's not really that big of a negative. So that wraps up this AlwaysMoto inspection on the Lucid goggles, which is something we were quite happy to do for the EKS Brand Australia guys. Like I said, if you want to read this review as well, check it out on fullnoise.com.au. we will have more inspections coming at you, which is actually quite interesting, so stick around for those other things. There'll be more of those. We will have one more video around the Lucids, which will do a lens change so that you guys know how to get that thing in and out and nice and easy without breaking the goggle or the locking system. But for now, guys, that's all we've got here at this AlwaysMoto inspection.